And we're live. It's the Revved Up 906 podcast, a Detroit Pistons podcast to be exact. And I'm Hudson.
I'm Ryan.
And well, just when we had our hopes up, with 4 seconds left, Klay Thompson nails a three to tie it in the fourth quarter. And while all hope was lost, we're like, oh, this game's going to go into overtime. It's going to be an L once again. We have 1 second on the clock coming out of a timeout, and Sadiq Bey at the buzzer drills it for a final score of 122 Pistons, 119 the Golden State Warriors. To kind of open up the conversation here, Ryan, um, coming out of that timeout, are you picking Sadiq Bey to take that shot? And if not, who are you picking personally?
Oh yeah. So no, I would not have had Bay taken that shot.
Yeah,
Just in the sense of he's been cold to start the season, and that's about it. But if you
yeah,
look back at this game, they've been in the late stretch there. They were covering Bogey and all of them pretty tightly. So they weren't giving them the ball because of that. And so you give it to your arguably best shooter on the team behind Bogey and Sadiq Bey, and I'm happy with that.
Well, and there's multiple times in the season where a team takes an L, and after the game, you're like, oh, I wish this guy stepped up. I wish this guy stepped up because if they had, we would have won the game. And this is on the situation on the other hand where a guy did step up, made it happen, and we came out with the dub. So I really like that. And I don't hate the thought of going to Bojan, especially this game, because he had 29 points on 5 of 6 shooting from the three, and then 10 to 15 from just regular field goals. Probably I'm probably drawing up the play for Bojan, but Sadiq Bey is a guy that if I'm picking NBA players to take the last shot, I don't hate Sadiq taking that.
Yeah, Sadiq went 6 for 17 for field goals and 4 for 10 for 3-pointers. And then he had
Yeah.
a one free throw, which it's not a terrible game, but you can tell he was definitely feeling more confident with shooting the ball more, which is good. We need that.
Yep.
I will definitely take 17 from him. Even if he has like a quiet night like he did against Portland where he had like 9 points, I'm fine with that too. As long as he's getting up a shot and building confidence, that's the big thing.
Something I wanted to hit on after Killian's 3 game absence was how his return was. He had 9 points, 2 rebounds, 1 for 4 from the three, and 2 for 12 from the field, but 13 assists. So we're kind of seeing, Killian, he really is that guy when it comes to passing. He really
Yeah.
is an elite passer. And I think when teams respect his passing game more, that will naturally lead to more points. I don't hate 9 points from Killian in a return game from a 3 game absence. I don't hate that. It'd be nice if he was around 13, but after knowing Killian struggles offensively, I'll take 9. I've seen him put up less.
Yeah, Greg was mentioning during the game there that Killian wasn't even able to enter the arenas of their other games in his 3 game absence. So he really hasn't been taking that many shots. So it's understandable that he only had 9 points. He was 3 for 12 for field goals, 1 for 4 for 3-pointers, and then he had the 2 free throws there in the end there that came in clutch. But he didn't have a great shooting night, but he's also a very unselfish player, and I really like that, given the 13 assists. But I think that was a solid game from him coming back after missing 3 games. But I would like more points, but it's all good.
I found it kind of interesting that none of our rookies played in the fourth quarter in the home stretch of the fourth
Yeah.
quarter. Um, are you kind of surprised to not see Duran in at that point? I can kind of understand why Ivy isn't. He's been kind of struggling with turnovers,
Mhm.
but with Duran in having a solid game tonight, I'm surprised he wasn't in those last 4 minutes.
Yeah, I see it more as like you're wanting the vets to be in there, but
Mhm.
also in that last late stretch there, they had Draymond in, and Draymond is smaller. Kayvon Looney is also smaller, so you can afford to have your small ball lineup in there. Duren, I think it was more of like going into that last couple minutes there, you could see that he was gassed. So I
Mhm.
can understand that taking him out might benefit the team. Um,
Mhm.
I think it helped in the ending there, just in the sense that you have Jordan Poole, Klay Thompson, all these fast guys out there on the court. You're not going to
Mhm.
throw Jalen Duren in there and expect him to go out and guard one of those guys because he'll just get beat and there's a wide open layup.
Yeah, and he's still a rookie too, so he still kind of falls for all those moves that like a guy like Poole kind of tries to do. He's always trying to break people's ankles, and you see Duran fall for a lot of those cheap moves. But Duran tonight, 18 points, 11 rebounds, and 8 for 8 shooting. I mean, that's literally what we want from him. I mean,
Yeah,
that is. I was texting you during the game, and I said those are Drummond numbers. I
yeah,
love to see that. And 8 for 8 shooting from a rookie, dude. Oh, I just love it.
yeah. He pretty much had a double double going into halftime, and I'm like Andre Drummond, literally. But
Yeah,
yeah, I'm happy with his game. He had 32 minutes. He had those two free throws that he made. But defensively, he had six defensive rebounds, which is always big, and that's always good to have against the Warriors, who can just Draymond typically gets the board and kicks it out immediately, same as Looney. And when you have Duren down there to add some size, that definitely helps us. I think that was easily Duren's best game of the season. And
yeah,
if he's having his best game of the season against the defending champs, we're in for a good time.
yeah. And it's kind of. I don't know if you noticed this, but throughout the game, it could have naturally happened, but it seemed that the Pistons made an assertive effort to keep him involved.
Yeah.
I don't know if they just saw a mismatch against Looney. Looney's a solid NBA guy, but I think they might have just known that Looney's maybe a little bit less athletic than Duran, a little bit slower. Maybe we could catch him off guard with a couple Duran lobs. It just seemed like Casey may have had um, a little bit of influence in that, just because he just typically doesn't even get to put up 8 shots. So it was kind
Yeah.
of interesting to see him be involved in the offense and make it happen.
Yeah, one guy that I wish we would have been able to see play tonight was Kevin Knox. Especially
Yeah.
the reason I say that is because of when they threw Patrick Baldwin into the game. I feel like that would have been a pretty solid matchup. It defensive wise for us too, because they're pretty much the same kind of player. The only difference is Patrick can shoot the three better, but otherwise, I kind of wish we would have been able to see that a little bit. And I just think Kevin Knox being on the floor late in the game would have helped us more because of the size and length he has. But overall, bench wise, I'm fine with our bench play, even though we didn't
Yeah.
splash or anything. I'm still happy with it.
Yeah. But we have Alec Burks, 4 for 8 from the floor, 15 points, 2 for 3 from the 3 point line. Hamidou Diallo, pretty efficient, had 6 points, nothing too crazy, but he wasn't like 3 for 12. It was he only took 3 shots, so it's like he being efficient. I can appreciate that. So it's just and Corey Joseph also didn't see the floor tonight
Yeah,
either, which is kind of interesting.
because he's normally out there, but I he's one of Dwayne's favorite guys for sure. And so when he's not out there, it's like, what's going on? It's either he's
Yeah,
injured a little bit and they're just it's not something to report or something like that. But yeah, I found that really interesting, especially in the late stretch there.
yeah. My best guess was that since while Killian was gone, Ivy played the point while he was gone. I'm guessing that maybe Ivy just saw the number 1 spot a little bit more.
Mhm.
tonight than he typically would any other night. That was my only thought. That was my first thought when thinking about, oh, Corey Joseph didn't see the floor at all. Now, we're a big fan of this guy. I want to know if this is a hot take or not,
Okay.
but I'm really happy with Bojan's play as of late. Is it crazy to say he's top 30 in the NBA?
Top 30 in
Just
what
overall
category?
players and just players. If every year I think the NBA ranks like the top 120 or something like that. Um, is it crazy to say that he's top 30? I mean, there's all-star talk this year.
Yeah.
I mean, he's probably not going to get it just because of votes wise, but 21, 29 points tonight.
Yeah, I don't know if you can say top 30. If
Yeah.
I'd say at least 31, but I don't know if
Yeah.
you can say top 30 right now, just
Yeah.
because you look at I would take Jordan Poole over him. I would take Clay over him, obviously. But
Yeah.
well, I'd take Bogey over 80. There you go.
Mhm.
I'd also
Okay.
take Bogey over LeBron right now. That's a bold take, but I would.
I might have to clip that for Instagram. That's pretty sweet. I don't disagree. I said earlier on the main pod that I would take Bojan over Anthony. Um, LeBron, yeah, I
It's
might agree
really
with you.
bold.
I'd
It's
have to
really
check out
bold.
LeBron's last game.
It's really
Yeah,
bold.
but
But Bogey consistently has been there every single game, dropping 20 plus. LeBron has been in and out with injury, hasn't been too consistent. So that's my only knock on him. Plus, he's up there
yeah,
in age, but the up there in age is more impressive. But it's very bold. I kind of wish I didn't say it, but I did.
I don't hate it. I mean, LeBron's got him in years. Um, and I think that Bojan matched up with some of those Laker players. I think they would mix well.
Yeah.
Something I wanted to point out was I'm a big first quarter guy. I love if you're on top ending the first quarter, I think that your odds of winning that game are better than not.
Yeah.
So to kind of prove my point, the Pistons led in the first quarter at the end of the first quarter, 34 points to 26 points. And then Warriors outscored the Pistons in the second quarter by 4 points. And then in the third quarter, the Warriors outscored us by 1 point. And then we tied in the fourth quarter. So that hot start that the Pistons had in the first quarter really kind of set us up for that win. And sometimes people kind of take advantage of a first quarter of, well, there's all the next three quarters, but that first quarter can kind of determine um, where the momentum lies. And so I'm happy to see the Pistons come out hot against a solid, good chemistry team like the Warriors.
Yeah. Our first quarter, we were going all over the place, which can be bad, but it actually benefited us a lot tonight. Um, Bogey was doing his thing. Stu actually was playing pretty darn good in the first two quarters there. Duran obviously was playing great, but Ivy came on hot later, but I will definitely take a 34-26 lead going into the second quarter on the Warriors.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And speaking of Ivy tonight had 12 points, 5 assists, 6 rebounds, 1 for 4 from three, and 5 for 14 out of 14 from the field. That's not a terrible night. I'll
Nope.
take it. That rebounds to assists ratio. I like that. I like where he's at there. It'd be nice to see him get a couple more garbage points just to kind of boost up the stats.
Mhm.
But when you don't play the last, I think like 6 minutes of the fourth quarter, um, he's going to be missing out on some garbage points there, unfortunately.
Yeah, and to go back to what he shot, yeah, 5 for 14 is terrible. 1 for 4 for three, not great, but I mean, it's not bad. You only missed three shots. But I feel like with Ivy, he's the kind of guy where he's going to take a ton of shots, and not every time it's going to fall. And that's
Yeah.
okay because at the end of the day, he still had 12 points. He may not be the most efficient player out there, but he's just a freak of an athlete that's literally Kid Flash. So
Yeah.
he's going to take a ton of shots. They're not all going to fall, but at the end of the day, nobody can really stop him.
Yeah. And a lot of superstars in today's NBA, their field goal percentage isn't the best. I mean, look at a James Harden, look at a John Morant. These guys miss a lot of shots, but they're taking a lot of shots because they are superstars. And I'm not saying Jay Knight is a superstar right now, but he has that mentality to in the future, I can see him being a superstar. And every superstar starts somewhere, right? So
Yeah.
I don't mind him taking a lot of shots. You know, if he goes on a like every other possession he's missing a shot, I don't get too discouraged because I think he's a guy with just supreme confidence. I don't think he's a guy like Killian that might have a couple bad games and lose his confidence. I think Ivy, no matter what, is going to go out and he's going to shoot, and some of them are going to fall, some of them are not. He's going to miss some free throws, which is pretty
Yeah.
frustrating because he gets to the line so much. I wanted to talk about this too. He really gets calls like a superstar.
Yeah, he
I mean, he
does.
gets like everything. And the last like 5 years, I've been like really paying attention to the NBA. I've always been so frustrated how we don't have a guy like that to get fouls, like when we play a James Harden, John Morant, Russell Westbrook a couple of years ago, that just get every
Yeah.
call. And then now it's like the tables turn because now we got Jaden Ivey who just gets every call these last like 2 weeks. It's been great. I love it. Now he just needs to turn that into points
Yeah.
because if he made his free throws tonight, he probably would have probably 15, 16 points if he
Mhm.
didn't miss those free throws. And that's just a shame.
Yeah, that's a knock on his game for sure. The free throws and everything. I think that's why a lot of analysts bash on him a little bit, saying if there were to be a redraft, he'd go later. Um, that's one thing that I think he really needs to work on. If he can improve on his free throw shooting, I think he'll be just fine. He's already a good player as it is, but if he can get more efficient at the line, that's going to make and elevate his game to the next level.
Yeah, with Ivy, it's the little things with him. He's at a point where I do think he's as talented as a basketball player as a guy like John Morant. I really do think he's as talented as him. He just doesn't do the little things as
Yep.
well as Ja. So obviously Ja overall is better because
Yeah.
he can do those little things. Um, but as far as talent wise, I think he's with the best of them. I really
Yeah.
do. Back to the first quarter, I just wanted to mention it while right before we can start wrapping things up. The Pistons in their first quarter route scored 67%. So they're proving that with two bigs like Isaiah and Duran, that they can shoot high percentage shots and go and get buckets efficiently, not just throwing up crazy shots. And it's kind of nice actually to have a center like Jalen Duran paired up with Ivy because Duran, you know, is not going to take any crazy shots. He's going to play what's within him. And then that gives room for Ivy to go and throw up some shots, see what happens, see what falls. And that's a nice pairing.
Yeah. Duran's couple lobbed finishes there. Whew,
Yeah.
they got me
Dude,
jumping.
I get so fired up. I honestly do. I obviously I live in my apartment by myself, so it's like I'll get done like yelling, I'll sit down and be like, "Oh, dude, you're just why are you jumping around, man? Like nobody's here with you. Why are you like freaking out?" And I'll just be like, "But because it's fun to watch, man, and we
Yep.
haven't had that in a while."
No, we
And even,
haven't.
even Drummond, yes, great dunker,
Hmm.
but not that explosive,
No, he
right?
never had that kind of hops.
I just think there's something about way Jalen Duran dunks that you're just like, holy
Yeah.
crap. You know, I don't know what it is, but it's just he puts them down.
Yeah.
I
The
love
one where he went like all the way up and then just brings it down.
it. It's
Wow.
incredible. Before we wrap things up, Ryan, is there any last comments you want to throw out there?
Yeah, shout out to the Warriors with the Anthony Lamb dude there. The forward played
Yeah,
28
yeah,
minutes, 6 for 9, 3 for 5 for 3 point, made 2 free throws, a solid 17 points. I don't
yeah,
know who you are, but good job.
yeah. He actually was on the Pistons G League team
I had
for a
no
bit.
idea.
Yeah, dude. He, and he looks like he could be your server at Buffalo Wild Wings or
Yeah.
something. You know, he doesn't look like physically gifted by any means,
He
like a
he kind
lot of
of
men.
looks like the bigger version of Jeremy Lamb.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Hmm.
They could be cousins or
They
something.
could
Yeah,
be.
funny. It could be like Jeremy Lamb, but he just has gained some weight or something. You know, I don't
True.
know.
And just changed
Or,
his name also.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, that's true. But yeah, shout out Anthony Lamb. He did play for the Crews for a couple of years, but you know, and now he's getting some consistent minutes on the
Yeah.
defending champs. I'll take it. Why not? 28 minutes. That's not bad.
Yeah, that's not bad.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode, wrapping up the Golden State Pistons game on a winning game on a Sadiq buzzer beater from three. What a game. So we'll go follow us on Instagram at Revved Up 906. Make sure to subscribe, like, leave a comment, and shout out Grind Clothing Co.
Oh yeah.
Shout out. I like that. I like that merch, man. That's looking sharp. I'll need to get myself one of those. So that'll do it for today's episode. We'll see y'all later. Peace.